What's up, YouTube? This is Buzz saying here. So many attempts in trying to record this video. Something always goes wrong. I received a package this morning, which just made my day already, and it is a really cool day anyway. So what we've received today was the Nemesis painted character figures from Awakened Realms. Amazing stuff. I wasn't expecting it at all. Um, I haven't, if they have mentioned something in their latest update, I haven't picked it up that they are distributing the painted figurines. The story behind these guys, of course, you could pledge to get them, obviously with an on cost. I believe it was about £70, but I'm not 100% sure. Leave it down in the comments below if you can remember exactly how much it was for the painted figurines. I, for some reason, remember 70 or £100, somewhere around there. And what you do get for this money is, of course, your basic 6 crew members, the captain, the soldier, the scout, the pilot, the scientist, the mechanic. But if I remember correctly, you were also going to get the figurines for the Aftermath expansion um, painted as well. So technically, we're looking at 12 figurines painted for that price, which I think is pretty good for somebody who is not painting their own figurines, who doesn't want to invest in all that. You need the brushes, you need the paint, you need potentially thinner and other things as well if you realistically want to paint your figurines. And particularly if you want to get into painting, I don't think trying to paint your Nemesis figures is the best point to start with, because they're not figurines that are that easy to come by if something goes wrong. Although you can probably wash them off or all that. But anyway, let's have a look at them. So here they are, the crew. Excuse all the wrapping that came in there. So we got the crew there at the front, starting with the captain. I think they came out really well. I was going into a lot of details in the previous video as to how nice these figurines look like. I think they hit the spot with them. I think they've used the not only the right colors, obviously the color of the figure. So the dominating color for the mechanic is orange, which is the color for the mechanic in the game. The captain has obviously this slightly grayish, bluish tint in the game on the cards, and that's what they recreated here with the figure as well. Looking at the mechanic, as I mentioned before, the dominant basic color is orange, and they made some elements pop with the use of some nice light blue. Made it look really nice in my opinion, and the detailing is pretty good as well. I do know a number of people who do paint themselves. I have sometimes seen better detailing, particularly on the facial features. But if you think about that, there would be shadow cast under the helmet and things like that. I think they have very much considered how these figures are going to look like, and they've done a really good job for something that obviously they. There's clearly a guy sitting there who's probably painting, 100 or 200 of these mechanics. So realistically, it's more about repeatability and you being able to ensure that the figures come out looking fairly similar for all the guys who did pledge to get these painted figures. The soldier, really cool. I particularly like the orange tint on the weapon. Obviously, it's a massive thing, in video games and all that, for you to be able to customize your weapon. This gives me the feel of a customized weapon, which I think is pretty cool. It has got the predominant base color of black, which of course for soldier is more realistically blue, but I think they gave back the feeling of the armor really well, making it look metallic, and they used not even orange, but they almost this flame-like glow that appears on elements of the weapon at the back as well. So I think again they really hit the spot here with this figure, and it looks really really nice in my opinion. I mean, I'm happy with it. Again, as I said, I've seen really neatly painted figures, and I think these are also really nicely detailed. So looking at the pilot now, again, base color for the pilot is green, and again, they have used green to a good extent on this character to ensure that that you do get the feeling that you are playing with that particular model in the game. Okay, now let's look at the scientist. The scientist and the scientist, the captain, and the mechanic are fairly similar in a way. So I don't know whether that was just trying to save a little bit on paint. Maybe, maybe not. I still think they look pretty cool. And you know, you can understand why they would be potentially looking at saving some paint. So all three figurines are using blue and orange as the dominant colors, particularly the captain and the mechanic. They have basically the same palette of colors, but the predominant color would be orange for the mechanic, and then the predominant color would be that slightly grayish blue in some cases, but certainly a lightish feel to that blue on the captain. But going back to the scientist, again, fairly nicely detailed. You know, you could always wish for more, but you know, for something that you know you didn't paint yourself, I don't really think there's a lot of basis to complain. I think it came out really well. It came out professionally. It looks like a really neatly painted model. You can even still see some shadowing that's cast by the wheels onto the flooring itself, which I think is a nice touch that they've done there. Again, I think face-wise, it looks pretty good. Obviously, the dominant area on the face are the glasses, so there really isn't much detailing to go on there. But it is as good as you would want it to be, in my opinion. The only figurine that I have a little bit of issue with is the Scout. And not because of the coloring. Again, I think the coloring came out really nicely. Particularly purple is my favorite color. And the figure looks really radiant. The figure looks... I love that the Scout looks like she's in motion, as you would expect from a Scout as well, to be constantly around the ship, which resembles very much what the character's abilities are in the game as well. So really, really nice touch. My only issue is the front leg. So if you look at the figurine, don't know how much I can represent it, but it's slightly leaning towards the right hand side. And that is because the front leg there is actually detached from the flooring itself. So if you pay attention, put it down there, I can actually move the figurine around because the front leg is not, it probably was glued, and it might have just slightly broken during shipment. Well, probably during packaging, because these were all individually wrapped in these bubble wraps, sort of feet to feet. Two would be wrapped like that around with this, and you would have 3 packs of these 2 figures each. So I highly doubt that anything happens during postage. We've had loads of these little thingies thrown in there as well for extra protection. But something went wrong there, obviously. Not the biggest issue. I think a tiny drop of glue can just hold that in place. But I would definitely warn you that this could quite easily break if you're playing the game, particularly you're around with friends, you're moving your figurines around. If you knock this over, there is an extra potential, an increased potential even for the figurine to break. And I'm gonna get this mended, obviously. But it just feels like they're still struggling with these models to an extent. Obviously, I don't really want to bring up the whole soldier figurine malarkey that we've had in the previous few months, but it's still a little bit disappointing that at this stage we're still getting figures. But then again, these things are tiny and they're really easily damaged. So you know, I don't really think that there is a lot of judgment to be put on these. What I do think was a mistake was sending out those soldiers in just regular envelopes. I mean, that was, they were almost asking for trouble realistically. Now these guys, they came in a full box, as you can see here. Loads of packaging material, even that's at the bottom. The models were all wrapped with this bubble wrap thing. So even if the postman was throwing it around and all that, I don't think any realistic damage could have come to these figures. And for most of them, you know, it didn't. We don't know where the soldier, sorry, even the scout might have been damaged, or was it a matter of just, you know, during packaging or something. When somebody's painting a figure, I'm pretty sure they would notice that it's not glued to the base, and they would either bin it or try and mend it. But even with this, it looks pretty cool because there's only a slight lean to the right. It almost looks like the scout's trying to run around the corner bend, which does give some added bonus to this slight mistake. But it is what it is. If you guys have a close look there, you can see that there is the part sticking out from the ground, like a little black piece there that should hold it in place, ideally. So I'm gonna mend this. I'm gonna borrow some paint, not paint, even glue from my friend, get this sorted. Overall, I'm really pleased with this. Again, a massive surprise that it turned up. I wasn't expecting it to turn up, and yet it is here, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm really looking forward to play with these guys. We've been getting a lot of Nemesis action recently with my gaming group, so these guys turning up is just amazing. Storage-wise, I know it wasn't part of the pledge or anything, but it would have been cool to get a little plastic mold, some sort of a storage device where you could potentially keep these guys in. But then again, with all the added bonus content that we get for those people who supported them on Kickstarter, you know, that's the least of the things that I would be wishing we've gotten. So I'm going to come up with some sort of a storage solution, and I know a lot of people are also designing their own custom box inserts and all that, which, you know, does make sense to me. You want to make your game individual, which is really cool. Cool that you do that. And, you know, the whole idea of painting figurines and all that is anyway to ensure that you are making your things individual. So thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, as Nemesis goodness is arriving, I will be bringing that to you guys, reviewing it with you, the expansion. Whenever we get it, we will get it. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this update. I think it's really cool that they've arrived. I'm sure that there's going to be a buzz about them online as well. So let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. It would be nice to see how your characters have arrived. We could compare if they've used the same color scheme for all of them, or there might be some different color sets out there as well. And let me know if your scout has arrived with fully attached to the ground or not. And make sure you press a like or a dislike if that's what you feel. Subscribe, comment below, all that. Peace out, YouTube. There's a final shot of the crew. There you go. Sweet. Peace.